So that brings us to the transition. Now this has a 4-inch indent with 0 inches on the right, leaving an even smaller 2-inch leeway room. Transitions are film editing instructions and generally only appear in a shooting script. And I'll go over the differences between a spec script and a shooting script in just a minute. These things involve cut twos, dissolve twos, smash cuts, quick cuts, fade to, things like that. As a spec script writer, you should avoid using the transition unless there's no other way to indicate a story element. For example, you might need to use dissolve to indicate a large amount of time has passed. These are also helpful, I find, for things like dream sequences and the like. So, going into the next, which is a shot. It has a 0 inch left indent, 0 inch right indent with the full 6 inches worth of space. A shot tells the reader the focal point within a scene is changed. Like a transition, there's rarely a time when a spec screenwriter should insert shot directions. Once again, director's job. If you're the director, throw them in. Have fun. Examples of shots are angle on, extreme close-up, pan to, and the ever popular point of view shots. And there are other types of shots, but the point of view shots, close-ups, all that, those are the most commonly used. For more on that, I'll include some links at the end, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it at that. And that is how you write a spec script. So those are some of the elements that will be included in that. Like I said, I'll be giving you some links later on because I'm not an expert on this by any stretch of the imagination. So, moving forward, there is a spec script versus shooting script. So, a spec script literally means that you are writing a screenplay on speculation, which means that no one has paid you yet. Yet being the key word there. You're writing it because you want to write it. You have a story to tell, so tell it. And hopefully somebody will come along and want to purchase it. Fantastic, right? Well, here's the thing. Once the script has been purchased, it becomes a shooting script, which is also called a production script. This version of the screenplay is created for film production, and it will include like technical instructions with the film editing notes, shots, cuts, and all that. All the scenes are numbered, and revisions are marked with a color-coded system. This is done so that production assistants and directors can arrange them in the order in which the scenes will be shot for the most efficient use of stage, cast, location, resources, blah 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 blah. These are important if you get your screenplay purchased. If you want to shoot the script, then you're going to have to keep all of this blah 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 in mind. If you want to make an independent film, maybe it'll show up on IFC. You never know. It's entirely possible that it could. But keeping that in mind, you have to account for all of this when you're writing your screenplay. I tend to write mine as if it's already been purchased. That way, that should it be, the directors and the technical crew will have an idea of what I had going on in my head, regardless of whether it gets followed or not. Because I've had people look at it and go, no, I think that actually if we set this outside in the fall in, the middle of the Douglas woods, it'd be better. Well, I said that it should be shot at UMass Dartmouth in the spring. Yeah, we're going to change that. Okay. All right, awesome. All right, let's do this. And it came out actually fairly well, and I'm not entirely proud of it. But at the same time, it did show me an important lesson in how to go about working with people and realizing that I really work better by myself. Yeah. Difference between screenplay writers and writers. Entirely different world. I do have some examples of some screenplay formatting software. If you want them, again, they'll be included in the filmmakeriq.com tutorial. There's also some script binding and presentation information, and all that jazz. Honestly, the filmmakeriq.com site is really amazing and gives you a boatload of information for you to work with, and honestly, they do a far better job explaining any of this than I do. This is meant to be a brief overview of how to write a screenplay, with just the technicals explained. As I've said prior to this, and at least at Inkwell, and I'm fairly certain that I've mentioned it in these, in order to write, you need a concept. You need a great story, or something in your head that you think is an amazing story. And then you need to go with it. And the technicals can be taught, and the hows and the wheres and the whys, and, all that can be taught. But you need to have a great story. Absolutely need to have a great story. I cannot stress that enough. So, in closing, write your Once Upon a Time. Write it. Write it as if you could have the best actors in Hollywood acting it out. Write it as if you're shooting tomorrow. And you know what? You may very well be. So, this is Jessie signing off, and I hope that you guys have a great time this month writing in Script Frenzy if you're participating, or if you're not, just writing your screenplay and getting it out and seen. So, have a wonderful April, and hopefully I will be seeing you very soon with a couple of clips of the slam poetry contest that's going to be going on at Inkwell next week. And I'm actually pretty excited for it. I hope to see a few of you there. And as always, write. Just keep writing and you'll get there. Bye.